the people that helped me become the artist that I was, because I never actually had an apprenticeship. Their biggest thing was always, it's not about you. And that shit took me so fucking long to understand. It's not about you. It's not about you. Because I wanted it to be about me so bad. And they're like, it's not about you.
Before you came round, my heart would never be much faster. Before you came round, I was ready to slow down. Before you came round, I was heading for a small disaster. Before you came round, I was ready to blow me down. Let it go, make my body go. Take our bodies higher and higher and higher. We can go until the morning glow.
Because a lot of them didn't really want to do an apprenticeship. They just wanted to be shown how to tattoo so they could go and tattoo. And my thing was always like, I'm not going to show you how to tattoo until you know how to draw. If you know how to draw, then yeah, you don't really need nothing but to learn the techniques and stuff. But if you don't know how to draw, what's the point? You know, like, and oh man, we would go back and forth. I had issues like that with my girl apprentice too. Her whole thing was she felt like I was basically holding her back because she was a woman. We had one conversation like that, and I said it straight right off the bat, and we never had a problem with it again. And she became like my best pupil because she was like, oh, I can do this, and I feel like you just don't want me to this and that because I'm a girl. And I'm like, all right, well, go get an apprenticeship from somebody else, and they're gonna have you in lingerie, answering the counter and shit like that. I'm like, motherfuckers ain't nice to girls unless they're girl mentors, and girl mentors are just as rough on female artists as I'm rough on you. I'm like, the only difference is I actually want you to be good. We had that conversation, and she's like, after that, she never gave me any problems. I was like, you can feel free to leave whenever you want and go and experience what it's really like. That shit just kind of, hey, yokai. Well, those kind of people, you don't try to stop them. You let them go because you want them to experience that, to humble their ass. When they leave, if they find a better place, then yeah, the place that they were at wasn't a fit for them. If they don't and the shit goes bad, it will humble them and make them understand that it's not about them. The people that helped me become the artist that I was, because I never actually had an apprenticeship. Their biggest thing was always, it's not about you. And that shit took me so fucking long to understand. It's not about you. It's not about you. Because I wanted it to be about me so bad. And they're like, it's not about you. Well, that's the thing. It's like, here's the thing that you need to understand about tattooing. You don't need tattoo art studies. You need to understand what makes whatever you're going to do feel like a tattoo. Everybody has their own set of things that make tattoos feel like tattoos. So no matter what I say or any of that kind of stuff, the reality of it is everybody has a different feel for what they want their tattoos to look like. I know what I want my tattoos to look like. So when I draw my tattoos, I don't have to argue with people about what they look like and how they feel. I know what I want my stuff to look like. Mine's is basically focal point. What the people are going to be looking at. So if this were the tattoo, what's the focal point? Of course, obviously, I put a lot of intention on her face, and her, women parts. I want people to look at that. So obviously, I'm going to put a lot of attention on these areas, a lot of detail in these areas to get people to focus without thinking on these areas. That's the focal point. The next thing is the background. Whatever is behind it, anything other than the focal point. Her butt, the fluffy tail. I could put little bunnies like I'm doing all over the place. Those are part of the background, even though they're in the front. Put a carrot bush behind, anything that will make the image feel like it's a scene from whatever you're trying to capture, right? And then at the end of all of that, the most important part, filigree. Tying all of it together to make it feel like art. It's whatever you do to make it feel decorative or artistic or whatever, you know what I mean? Like for something like this, it could literally be like eggs all over the place because it's Easter, it could be clouds and blue skies, anything you could do to make the image get held together. You know what I mean? Like just to hold the image together. But a lot of people don't understand that. That's just how I go about mine. So like, for example, that is not what I wanted. Let's find a good one. Let's do this peacock here. A peacock side piece. Okay. The focal point is not what you think it is. People would think the focal point is the head. The focal point is not the head of this. Focal point are the feathers. They will be the most seen part. They will be the most decorative part. They will be the most loud part. The feathers are the focal point of this tattoo, which makes the background the bird. The wings, the body, the head, all of that stuff is the background. And of course, the filigree is the little decorative shit right here that holds it all together. I can put this decorative swirly, whatever, frilly stuff with the cherry blossoms all through this tattoo to hold it together however I see fit. Luckily, I don't really have to do that much. But this caps it together to make it feel like a finished piece. It fits where it's supposed to fit, which is on the side. It curves to the body. Everything is where it's supposed to be. But when I used to draw stuff, I used to just draw it and then be like, oh, I think I can fit it here. And then it would look like I was just putting a giant sticker on a body. This kind of piece, when you design it right, or when you design a piece like this right, it fits the body the way it's supposed to fit. So when a person bends and moves, it bends with the natural curve of their body. And the piece doesn't get wrinkled up. That person could be sitting down and you could still see the whole entire image. It moves with the body. Takes time to learn that. And this is the kind of shit that you learn when you're learning how to tattoo. Just like a flower piece. This is a continuous flower piece, except for like the elbow, which we never got to finish coloring in because she was debating on whether or not she wanted the flower here or not. So we ended up never putting anything here. She never came back, so we never ended up finished coloring it. But the point is that it's continuous. So when I designed it to be continuous, to where any angle you looked at it, it looked like the tattoo was together. It looked like a full sleeve. So anytime any way she moved her arm, it didn't look like the tattoo just stopped. It looked like it was just built for her arm. She wanted a floral piece. I gave her a floral piece. She told me what tattoos or what flowers she wanted. I put the flowers. The filigree were the little decorative leaves, the little swirly leaves that are all over the place, and the butterflies. That was the filigree. Which obviously meant the background were like the little vines you can barely see, but they were all over the place in the background underneath the shading. The whole piece was capped together by dark shading to make all the colors brighter. You know what I mean? This is like, fuck, this was like 14 years ago. But it's like, the better you get at tattooing, the more you understand. And when you build your tattoo, you build, all right, what's the tattoo about? All right, this is what the tattoo is about. Tattoo is about Eve in the Garden of Eden. This is probably going to be redrawn someday because this was a rough sketch. But Eve in the Garden of Eden, you know the story. You know, so the background obviously is the tree of life, or the filigree is the tree of life. And Eve is the focal point. Eve eating the apple, you know, which means the serpents are the background, right? I mean, there was only one serpent, but more than one serpent, you know, just made the tattoo look better. You know what I mean? Like the main serpent is by her face or whatever. You know, I could use her hair as filigree. I could use the leaves as filigree. I could use the smoke that the serpents are rising from as filigree. It's all of that couples together the tattoo, so that when I wrap it around the person's arm, if it doesn't fit completely around, all I got to do is draw in some extra leaves, or draw in some more smoke, or draw in an extra snake, anything in the background to cap the design to where it looks continuous for a sleeve. You know, if the design looks lopsided, I can always balance it out with the same thing. But these are things that you use, and you learn how to use when you design a tattoo, so that you know how it's supposed to hold up. I never put eyes on my tattoos because eyes tell too much of the story. It's something that I learned from like Michelangelo or Leonardo da Vinci. Like when they do statues, you notice that the statues never have eyes because the eyes tell too much. So I always leave the eyes out of sketches or what, out of my tattoo sketches, just because. But I mean, the technique works with anything. Then you just kind of learn what kind of stuff you like to draw and what you want people to see. But the more things that you can do and the more flexible you become, the easier it is to design for people.
Our feet on the ground and we talk with our head in the clouds.